Okay, we are gonna give some suggestions on what people should do on Earth Day to keep our Earth clean and make it a better place. For me, I'm personally turning off all my lights and shutting the faucet off when I'm not directly using it.
I'm gonna do not go on my phone as much because that wastes up a lot of energy.
I am going to, whenever I see trash on the side of the road or on the beach or something, I'm going to pick it up and make sure it gets in the proper area.
I want to remember to start turning off the lights after I finish using them.
I'm going to turn off the projector behind you.
I am going to turn my refrigerator 38 degrees Fahrenheit so it saves more energy.
I am going to take quick showers because that wastes a lot of water, and if you like shampoo and conditioner, that's really what you need to do. So.
Okay, another thing that people do, I need to personally work on, is unplugging your cord from the wall if you're plugging in your computer, a mixer, a TV, anything like that. If you're not directly using it, then you need to unplug it to save a lot of more energy.
Our planet's alarm is going off, and it's time to wake up and take action to do stuff.
Another thing you should do is eat your leftovers. Don't shove them down the garbage disposal. If you're wasting it, throw away leftovers into a composite pile, or you can use them to compost everything and make recycling a habit in your home.
One thing that's very dangerous is the mercury levels are rising, and the penguins in Antarctica have fallen from 32,000 to 11,000 breeding pairs in 30 years because of the rise of mercury.
Industrial release of warm water into our rivers may seem harmless compared to dumping chemicals. However, this practice lowers the levels of dissolved oxygen in water, upsetting the natural balance of river life.
You could also place a no junk mail sticker on your mailbox.
Another thing that's helpful for you and your community, you can design a plant and community garden like a greenhouse or just something in your backyard or throughout your neighborhood, because then people can take jobs by watering it and everything. And you also want to weed those out, like take the weeds out of the garden so your plants stay healthy and give off oxygen.
You should inflate your car tires, your manufacturer's recommended levels, and check them monthly.
You can also give recycled or homemade gifts on holiday seasons.
You could skip typical Thanksgiving decorations and so repurpose family decorations and not keep on buying new ones because that's just wasting plastic.
And I know that everyone wants the perfect green lawn, but it's important that we use natural fertilizers, especially on the seacoast, because those could run into the water and those are killing animals in the water.
So we just named a bunch of things you can try for Earth Day and hope you try.
Yeah, because they'll definitely help keep your environment clean and keep your earth healthy.
And you can also try to get this around to other people because it will help the earth. And once everyone knows about it, this earth could be very clean and healthy.
Yes, we need to help protect it.
And you shouldn't just do things because it's Earth Day. You should try to do it every day, because Earth Day is kind of a reminder. It's not just a one-day thing, so we should try to do this the entire year.
Yeah, you can also start your own group in your community, to something that you commit to once a week, 3 times a week or something. Because definitely if you do that every day of every year or every other day or a certain schedule throughout the year, it'll definitely help keep the planet clean and everything.
So can you tell us a little bit about our garden and maybe the property behind there? Do you know anything about that?
The Wedgwood?
Wedgwood.
Yeah.
You want to discuss that a little bit?
Sure.
Any of you can hop in if you want.
For Wedgwood, we just bought this big property of land behind our school, and we are going to turn that into an outdoor learning classroom. So for science, you can go out there and study nature and study everything around the woods. You can study the trees, the woods, and all that fun stuff. That's what we're turning Wedgwood into.
And so we have a really good garden out there, and sometimes each classroom goes out there and puts effort into building tomatoes and herbs and stuff.
And the 8th graders have like a project that goes out there and cleans it up and takes out all the weeds and
And also,
we're gonna take down the fence and like clean out everything and make sure there's nothing like poison ivy.
And also my homeroom, we were just working on a project of creating like a little warning of like where poison ivy is or poisonous plants. So that can also help, like if we take those out or get all the weeds out, it'll help keep the garden safe and keep it a happy place for people to go learn.
Yeah, because we're going to go out there, and it's really important that we stay away from the poison ivy. And I'm also in her homeroom, so we created kind of a billboard that tells you what poison ivy looks like and how to stay away from it.
Yeah, and on the poison ivy subject, we got goats to help eat all the poison ivy, so it's safe for us to walk out
And
there.
it does not kill them, by the way.
No, they're immune to it.
Yeah, they're immune to it, so it's like safe.
It doesn't make their stomach itchy.
And they think it's yummy.
How long were the goats here for?
Like 3 days.
Like
3 days, and they just kind of cleared the
Just
poison
chill
ivy
out
out.
and eat some.
And they were really cute.
Yeah.
And fluffy.
And then there are also sheep.
Yeah.
Is there any
Yeah.
questions?
No. Why is it called
Why is it
Wedgwood?
called the Wedgwood Project? Repeat the question.
Why is it called Wedgwood
Wedgwood
Project? It's called the Wedgwood Project because it's a wedge of wood. No, never mind.
No one knows?
No.
All right. That was the family property.
So the family
Okay,
that
and-
owned it, their last name
Was
was Wedgwood?
Well, that was the way the family named the property. I don't know if it was their name or not.
Okay.
And so it's called like project because we've been trying to save up and we did this year, so then we bought it. And then so it was
With a lot of
kinda-
help from a lot
Yeah.
A lot of people.
And next year we're
donated.
gonna start clearing it out, or over the summer we're gonna start.
of. And who's already started clearing?
The goats.
The goats.
The goats.
Yeah.
Okay,
The
there's,
goats munch on things.
there's another question on the board, but they already answered it on the chat, but just in case. The question is there really poison ivy there? And yeah,
Yes.
there's a
There's
lot
quite a
of
bit of
it.
poison
That's
ivy.
why the homeroom is making like a sign to warn people about it, like where to stay away from. And we're definitely gonna get that like warned.
Taken care of.
taken care of and everything. So it's safe for people to learn outdoors.
And not get poison ivy.
No.
'Cause that
Could
is
we?
Do some of you want to switch places?
I'll go to the
And
Could
do
we-
you want to talk about our severe weather project?
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
What's the severe weather project?
I'll go I can do severe weather.
Could we also talk about like Earth Day and how like adults think it's not effective as much as kids? Okay.
Okay.
Do you want to start with that?
Yeah.
Did you say?
Okay,
Okay.
so we are also going to do how sometimes adults don't think that Earth Day is as important, as effective as kids do.
Yes. So, we were interviewing some people, and some people said that most kids said that they know Earth Day pretty well because it gets around and they go to school, so they learn about it. And we also asked adults, and adults said that they don't think it gets around as much because the way I guess they don't really talk about it as much, and they don't.
So it's important to like spread the word about Earth Day because even if like you go to school and you think that like everyone would know because you talk about it
But they
today,
don't.
not everyone does, and so it's important to kind of like
So
tell people about it.
yeah, you can go home to your parents and you can tell them to spread it around at like where they work. If they work in an office, they can spread it around. They can start a garden in their office, and they can get like the word out to the bigger companies out there. And especially if you live in the city, you really want to help survive, make that city air better and cleaner because city air is really bad because air pollution.
Yeah.
Severe weather project we did.
Yes.
So we did a severe weather project.
And so we researched different topics like tornadoes and hurricanes and
Flash
floods.
Lightning.
How to like
Lightning.
Lightning.
I did lightning.
Okay, so me and Katie will tell you about lightning.
Did you know that lightning, it kills more than any of the other types of severe weather?
And it can cause brain damage if you get struck by lightning.
Very bad brain damage.
And so like with this weather project, we focused a lot on like how to stay safe in it and what kind of research is going on in this
Yes.
field.
And the dangers.
Yeah, so we also had to find a certain amount of facts. So we had to find a bunch of dangers and safety,
And how it's
And-
made.
Yes. So
Mhm.
we use certain sources to help us, and it turned out as a good project.
Yeah,
And
and,
we had
then
to have
at the end we had a big discussion.
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
all the people that researched one subject got together and we were asked questions and then we just went through our subtopics and talked about our what we researched.
It was very interesting, and I learned a lot about all the different topics and how to stay
Yeah.
safe from everything that could happen in our area and what could happen to us.
Yeah, the most topic I was shocked on kind of I think was lightning, because I didn't know it could do so much that
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was shocked
There's-
on flash floods because I didn't know that people could actually die.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
there's
And
Like,
one of the
even
things
flash
that
floods.
is really important that I feel like I learned about in this thing is that also you have to know the basic dangers for everything, like what to do if there's a flash flood, like if you live near the ocean, and also how you should have kind of emergency plans and first aid boxes in your home, so if there's an emergency, even if it's not a natural disaster or weather type of emergency, so you're always kind of prepared.
Okay, we
And-
have a question on there.
Okay. What
Do
is
you
it?
guys have severe weather in New Hampshire?
Yes, we
do.
have
We
a
get blizzards.
we have a lot of lightning in New Hampshire because we have all our different
floods.
No, we don't really
Yeah.
have that. much fun.
We
don't-
feel bad.
If you live, one of my neighbors, we live on this marsh near the beach, and so they have to keep this I don't know what it's called. It's a machine that kind of takes out the water basically, and they have to keep that running constantly because otherwise their basement will totally flood. And because all the water levels are rising, especially here because we're on the seacoast, there's that restaurant, and when there's a high tide, the entire driveway will get covered up with water. It's really
Yeah,
we
it's
don't really have tornadoes either.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we don't. I don't think we
We
had a
had one
tornado.
really
No,
Why?
I remember I was
Yes.
up in my lake house up in northern New Hampshire, and there was a big tornado that hit, and now you can see the whole entire field is all cleared down. There's no trees, and canoes and kayaks went flying because it was on a lake and some were on roofs.
Yeah,
And
we,
blizzards are also really popular because we live where it snows a lot.
Yeah,
That's
and
kind of cool.
we also have hurricanes. Our last hurricane was Katrina, I think, or
No.
never
A
mind,
while ago.
Sandy,
Hurricane Sandy.
and it
Katrina
and it
wasn't-
killed
in Louisiana.
Katrina wasn't
That was
near
in
us.
Louisiana.
and it killed we had this igloo in our elementary school, and it knocked it down. Yeah,
Is
The
there
last
more
one was,
questions?
in
or
2013.
No.
great explanation.
Any-
Thank you.
Questions.
Is there any questions?
Did anyone research tornadoes?
me and Julia.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell us?
Okay. If there's a tornado and you want to figure out where to go to be safe, you don't want to get in your car and try to outrun it. And you want to get out of your car because it's actually safer to be lying down in a ditch with your hands over your head than be in your car, because your car can easily get swept up. And if you're in a mobile home, that's really unsafe too. So you want to go down into your basement because you basically want to get low.
But if you don't have a basement, you could go into an interior room, like a bathroom with no windows, or a strong built room with heavy walls and a ceiling. And
Yeah. Because the glass can shatter too.
There was a question on the chat room.
Were you affected by Hurricane Sandy in New Hampshire?
Were
We
we
were,
affected by Hurricane Sandy in New Hampshire? That was the question.
Yes.
And
Yeah,
yes,
we
we were.
Yes.
There was strong wind.
By the time
By
the time it reached us,
it was
a
only
tropical
a tropical storm, so we didn't get
Storm
affected as much as other people near New Jersey did and stuff. But we got
there was
But-
we got
strong
a
winds.
strong storm, not
Yeah.
a full on hurricane.
Rains, winds.
Yeah.
did power go
It
out?
didn't really.
Yeah, the
yes,
power went
Yeah,
out.
I lost power.
But it didn't really
Yeah,
tear
yeah,
down
yeah.
houses.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
wasn't
they
as
did.
strong. I have an aunt and uncle who live in New Jersey or New York, I think, and they got really battered, and we didn't get that bad, but it was still scary and
Because
a
it could
really
have
big
been
storm.
worse.
Yeah,
Yes.
Mhm.
but the storm had
So
kind of
we
slowed
were
down.
classified as lucky, I guess.
And I think
Yeah.
for all the safeties, most of them just implied to get downstairs in a basement with no windows.
And sheltered.
Except for-
Almost in any storm, you don't want to be near windows because a lot of storms, with the different pressure levels, because they kind of go crazy during storms, you really don't want to be near windows because it can shatter.
Did you guys just hear of that hurricane that was on the news when over 500 people died in one of and it was, I forget the hurricane's name, but it was really severe. And this happened 4 days ago, and they're still looking for survivors under all the rubbles when all these buildings crashed down, and
And
the death count is over 500 now, as I said, and it's really
And
serious.
in Houston right now, there's also like a giant flood. And I don't think it was a flash flood.
No, it's just a flash.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
just
the
a normal
floods.
flood.
Flash floods.
Yeah, flash floods are basically like
Flash
there's a
floods.
flood that happens really fast.
It's flash floods. It's kind of like when you could not know about it. Like there might not be any warning, and it could just happen.
Yeah.
And that's kind of
I
like
just want to get high
that's
ground.
kind of what makes flash floods like scary, I guess, because it's like
Okay, guys,
For all-
you don't know.
Question.
Yes.
Oh, all right.
Do hurricanes happen all year
Say
long
it.
or just certain times of the year?
Do hurricanes happen all year round, or
Just a certain time of
or
year.
just a certain time of year?
There are definitely seasons for each kind
Yeah.
of storm.
Mhm.
Mostly
but they
spring going
can-
into summer.
Yeah, mostly
right?
spring going into summer, fall summer going into fall.
But
Yeah.
like anything, like you should always be prepared because I mean, like I guess if you're in Arizona, you're probably not gonna get a blizzard, but it's still good to like be prepared for everything. Like even if it's not the like typical time for that kind of storm.
Said that they get lots of flash floods in Arizona because there's no place for the water to drain when it comes down.
Yeah. That's what
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
flash floods is it's not like it just recedes.
Well,
it just
we're
kind of
like
goes
a
up and you
very
have to.
flat town.
Well, no, we have a lot of hills
Well,
because
like,
we have like giant hills.
Well, yeah, but like from
But
the
it's
cemetery.
mostly sea level.
True. Yeah, we're mostly sea
We're
level.
mostly sea level, but with floods and flash floods in general, like it doesn't just like recede, like it comes up, and which is
From
like
the
flash
mountains,
floods. Yeah,
like snow.
it'll go down or come up like really fast. But then it doesn't just go away. Like your town has to figure out a way to kind of deal with all the water.
And also, sorry. Okay. And also last year, our science teacher, Mr. B, he showed us a photo of our town in like somewhat years when the ocean, it's gonna like take over half of our town, and like we're all gonna be underwater.
Yeah, because the water levels are rising.
Yeah. Hey, Gabby, what were you gonna say? I mean,
Oh.
G-Man.
I forget what I was gonna say. Oh.
Well, can we move on to a different topic? Do you think?
What other topics are there?
Um,
We could do something. What other?
What
We could do stuff.
studied in science.
which one?
Guys,
you
we could do.
guys did reduce reuse recycle.
Yes.
So
Oh,
we
but like,
did
aren't you guys
reduce,
gonna say
okay.
that during?
Yes.
the-
So
aren't
say
you
what
gonna
we
say-
did.
You're gonna say that during.
Well,
your
no,
podcast, right?
I already
If
did
we
my
already
broadcast.
did it.
We already did.
Yeah, we
Oh,
already
okay.
did a broadcast. So
Oh,
like
could
one
I
of the
still
things
say
that we
mine?
learned, which was kind of interesting, is that
We didn't
for like
get to
reduce,
do
reuse,
ours.
recycle, recycling is actually the worst because you're still throwing something away, and obviously it's better to recycle than put it in the trash.
But it's
But
still
you-
bad.
You want to work on like reducing what you
Reuse.
use and using reusable products.
Like you definitely want to try reusing more than like
Yeah.
recycling is good, but it's still not that great because it still takes a long time for it to compose and to be reused.
Yeah, and like we were saying, I don't know if any of you guys saw, but we had like a little like music dance thing, and we said that like if it's something like sturdy, you can like use it again. And so if you have like a stronger plastic water bottle, and you're in a place where you can fill it up, just like fill it up again. You don't want, especially like plastic water bottles, you don't want to just like use them and then get rid of them.
Definitely don't.
Yeah,
throw it
I
out.
remember in third grade, I had a tub full of plastic water bottles, a giant tub full of plastic bottles, and I realized how bad that was. And so now I have reusable water bottles everywhere I go. I don't use the plastic water bottles that I get from the school. So I'm proud of myself from turning around like that.
And you definitely want to get in the habit of carrying it around. Like I know at my summer camp that we go to, all of the like if you go somewhere without your like water bottle is like filled up, they'll be like, go fill up your water bottle, go get your water bottle instead of using a plastic
They
one.
don't hand out plastic
Yeah,
ones.
Yeah,
They'll
like
lend you one or like you'll buy one because they don't want to promote using
Yeah,
plastic.
and you really, and once you're in the habit, it's actually not that hard to just kind of remember. Like
Also
when you get ready for school, just grab your water bottle.
Schools are making a difference with putting in the reusable water fountains that have the water bottle filler.
true.
Yeah, we have this thing where it's like the sensor, and you can put your water bottle underneath the sensor, and the water will like come down.
And it keeps track of how many plastic water bottles you like save.
Yeah, and so that's really cool to see. Like over these years, like this is how many plastic water bottles that were saved that we didn't have to throw away, and that we could just reuse, which is really cool.
I think that us as a community really should try to use the 3 hours in the right way.
Yeah.
Yes. Do you want to move on to a different topic?
We talk about how our school
decided to change our water fountain.
Yeah, we just talked
Yeah.
about that.
Oh yeah.
Good. Would you like to hear a song?
Sure.
Reuse, reduce,
Well, actually, I
recycle.
have a song from a couple of years ago. So the mic is.
Do you want me
I'm
to
actually
turn
going to turn the mic on, and of course, an airplane goes over. But
Is it on now on you?
it is on this computer.
Okay,
This-
so it's not on this one?
no. So
Don't touch it.
Don't touch
Katie.
it.
It's gonna sound really loud.
that mic is still live.
Oh, I thought you said it wasn't on.
No, sorry, this one is.
Technical
All right,
difficulties.
and hopefully you can hear it.
Technical difficulties.
I didn't get to share mine.
And I wrote a song about Earth Day called Here and Today. It's actually about global warming and how we really don't have a lot of time to just sit around and talk about fixing global warming. We really need to just do it because there's so many people in this world that can fix it, and waiting around isn't really going to happen. So here it is, Here and Today. Take it all and throw it all away, 'cause that's just what we wanna do today. Hold them back, there's no need to be strong enough, 'cause here and today, that's just not enough. Way, but it never seems to matter. The pain, it never seems to go away, and all we leave behind, and all we share, is one thing we cannot erase. Look at all these people. Look at all this life. Look at all these people. Look at all this life. Here in today. It's all we have. It's all we'll ever. Here in today. So take back everything you wish you could. There's not enough time and not enough people. If we could all realize, if we could all realize. Look at all these people. Look at all this life. Look at all these people. Look at all this life. Here in today, it's all we have. It's all we'll ever. Here in today. It's all we have, it's all we'll ever here in today. Look at all these people. Look at all this life here in today.
That's a previous song.
Yes.
From
Okay.
a while ago. And we have a new update.
Now, so you know how we were talking about G-Man? You know how we were talking about the water bottle count and how our water fountains have water, how many saved? And in one water fountain, we've saved 13,981 plastic water bottles. And that's only in one water fountain. We have multiple of these around the school.
I think we have three or four.
3 or 4 around the
There's
school.
one downstairs in the base.
We have more than that.
We have like
One up here.
a
I would
lot.
say 6.
6 or something. We have a lot of these, and we are doing a lot to help save our community. And now we are going to move on to something that is happening this week, and that we are very excited that's happening. It's our Culture Week.
So this is World Language Week, and we're focusing on like different cultures around the world. And so today is obviously it's Friday, and it's like the last day, and so we're gonna have like a mini World Cup, and each homeroom gets or they pick a country, and you like learn like about what the country's flag is, and like a little bit about the country in general. And then you get to just go play soccer game
Against
like the
other
World Cup.
other
Yes.
ones.
Other homerooms, yeah.
So on Monday,
This is
each we had a movie that
Well,
we
if you
picked.
had word
Well,
language.
yeah, if you had word language. So
It was like in a different language.
yes, so I take Spanish, so we picked Tangled, so we watched it in
really?
Spanish. So
Really?
it was fun. And then
And I am French, and we chose Madagascar, and we watched Madagascar in French.
Yeah.
Okay,
Tuesday.
my world language class, we chose The Incredibles and we watched it in French.
Tuesday, what did we do on Tuesday?
And it was good because they were movies that we already knew, so we kind of we already knew what was happening, but we got to hear like in a different language.
And so you could learn like the different words and kind of like pick up a few words that they would like say, and you'd be like, oh, like this is what this means, like Mr. Incredible, like.
Also, there's captures down below, so it's a little bit easier to like
yes,
understand. But
Crap and
yeah.
Yes.
So at lunch they serve
On Tuesday.
Tuesday.
We got to try different
Sorry.
foods.
And so they serve
Crap and
crepes and
churros.
churros, so
And
that if you like want to try something you haven't tried before, or if you know that you like it, you could just go and get one to have with for lunch.
yeah, it definitely introduced like a lot of cultural foods to like the people who've never tried them before, and like they were very good too.
And it helped raise money for field trips.
Okay, and on Wednesday we did a dress up day. So we got to dress up like anything that you wanted. Like you could dress up like a stereotypical French person, have a beret, and you could dress up how you like wanted to, and what this not really like what you think of that culture. You could dress up and wear that, and they got prizes handed out to 3 in each grade of who was the best.
Yes. So on Thursday, yes.
There's a question.
Another question.
What?
How did it help raise money?
They cost the churros and crepes costed money. Like they cost
I think
$1.
crepes cost $1.50.
No, $1.
Just $1.
And 2
And then the-
churros for $1.
Yes.
Yeah, and so basically, if someone wanted them to bring in
It was
their
like the
money,
student
it was like-
council.
Yeah, the student council
Yeah.
was arranging it. So
So
there's a line of tables, and people would come up, like pay them, and then that goes to the funding for the field trips, which also like gives a lot more learning experience.
yes. So Thursday we
Was
had
that the international
what's
food?
yes, it was international food. So Thursday, 7th and 8th graders brought in foreign food. So
With the label saying what it was.
yes, so with the label saying what it was. So I brought Mexican dip.
I brought chocolate cake German cookies.
I brought
They're very
fondant au chocolat, which was like it's a French brownie basically, but it's really good.
I brought dumplings from Japan, China, I don't know, Asia.
I brought like a plum cake from, I don't know how to pronounce it, but it was from Germany.
I brought fried rice.
And basically, it was 6th graders don't get the chance to do it because they do it with their class. But once you're in 7th and 8th, your whole grade does it. So whoever brings a dish can participate in it, and you get to try everyone else's, like one from each.
And there's a wide variety of food.
A very
there's a
wide
Different
variety.
countries and places.
Because everybody.
I was in a
brought
food
something
coma.
different.
And you get
So
to like
then
set up, and we set up
today,
tables, so
like
it
we already
looks
said, we're having soccer.
Tournaments.
Sports
So-
day.
But some people are dressed up.
Yes. It's your
Yeah.
team colors.
Colors.
Some people are changing
Okay,
different
So
ways.
I'm going to say that it's 10 o'clock here at East
10 o'clock
Daylight
here.
Time. And some of us need to go to band or back to homeroom.
Wait, I thought it was
right now it's 10 o'clock. I have a couple people that have signed up to be here.
Okay.
So thank you very
Thank
much.
you. Bye.
For watching.
That worked out well. Okay. All right, and we have, we're still live. So we have a couple of students that are coming through. We have one video that's on the way, right? I need the door closed because we are live right now. Okay, thank you. And so anyone that wants to stay here, that's fine. But we're going to be streaming. Otherwise, can you go into Mr. Waters' room, please? Okay. Ask her if it's okay. Okay. So I think we have one other student that signed up to be here. And do you have anything you want to say or do? Okay. So I think what we're going to do in the meantime is play a previous interview that we did with Clyde Roper. And I am actually going to see if I can switch the screen a little bit. This is an interview. I'm going to do a screen share if I can, right here. And this is an interview that we did with Clyde Roper on, excuse me, a couple of years ago. And he is a giant squid expert. So listen in for that. Say it again. Yep, we're still streaming. Let me see. Oops, I pressed the wrong thing. Might take a little bit to buffer.
This is Cody Ross.
Oh, and of course we have commercials.
For their growing family.
So I'll mute while we have a commercial. I forgot about that on Ustream. And I'd like to thank, while we have time here, our two good friends who follow us on webcasts, Peggy George and Lisa Durf. We really appreciate you getting up and joining us. So we might have some commercials during this webcast.
You're listening to an Earthcast echo for January 4th, 2012. We are broadcasting live on Earth Bridges channel for World Bridges Network. Earthcast echoes are extensions of Earth Day webcast called Earthcast. Today we are broadcasting from Rye Junior High School in Rye, New Hampshire in the U.S. If you are listening live, there's a chat room available to ask questions and share your ideas. Make sure in the chat room you type a name and no password is necessary. Adults and students will be in the chat room, so please be respectful, kind, and helpful. Thank you.
Today we are pleased to be able to speak with Dr. Clyde Roper. He is well known for his research on giant squids and other mollusks. Also, Dr. Roper has a connection to New Hampshire, specifically Rye. Welcome, Dr. Roper. Would you please introduce yourself a little bit to the audience and tell us what your connection with New Hampshire is?
Yes, thank you very much, and I'm delighted to be in contact with all of you today. My name is Dr. Clyde Roper. I was brought up in Rye, New Hampshire, and as a young boy, I lived on Washington Road, and I was always interested in the beach. We would go down to the beach, my brother and I, and we would look at the tide pools. We would go collecting on the beach, whatever the ocean brought in. So I was exposed to the ocean my entire life, and then when I was 14 years old, I started to be a lobster fisherman, and I was a lobster fisherman out of Rye Harbor from the time I was 14, right on through high school and through college. And then when I went to graduate school, then I had to stop lobstering. And that's when I began to study squids and octopuses and cuttlefishes, and together they are called cephalopods. You probably already know that, right?
All right, so we're gonna try to get the microphone, a sound system a little bit better for you. Let's see if we can do this. Can we use this system? So hang on. I've got my crew here helping me. And I have you turn on that speaker box in the back on the left. Nope, right there. The back. So let's try this. If this is any better.
And people in the chat room, you're welcome to ask questions too. All right, and our classes are just changing so that we've got some little noise in the background. So why don't we start off with some of the first questions we have?
When were you here at this school?
When was I there at that school? Actually, Rye Junior High School, I don't think existed when I was going to school there. And golly, I was there. Let's see, from right around in the late 1940s, early 1950s. Wow, that was a long time ago. And I graduated from Portsmouth High School in 1955. So that will give you an idea of the time I was there. So I was and then I was a lobster fisherman from probably 1951 or 52 until I went to graduate school in the fall of 1959. Any other questions?
And when did you become interested in squid?
Why did I become interested in squid? That's a very good question. When I went to graduate school to get my advanced degrees, I wasn't really certain of what I was going to go into. It was perhaps logical that I would study something like lobsters or crabs or something like that, because that's what I had been involved with as a kid. But my very first semester in graduate school, I was introduced to cephalopods, squids, octopuses, and cuttlefishes. And then I was a research assistant for a professor who was a world authority on squids. And so in the work that I was doing for him, I happened to discover a new species, that is a species of squid, deep sea squid, that had never been discovered before and never been named. And so that became my master's thesis. And from then on, I was hooked. And I've just really enjoyed working on squids especially, but also cuttlefishes and octopuses for my entire career.
Congratulations on that new species. Do you have
Thank
any
you.
kids? And if you do, can you tell us a bit about them?
Well, I've described several new species on my own and also with colleagues. And these were mostly animals that came from the midwaters and from the deep sea, where we know so very, very little about the animals. So most of these are fairly small. And the exciting thing, at least to me, about them is that many of them have what we call light organs or photophores. These animals in the midwaters and the deep sea are able to produce what we call bioluminescence, that is, living light. Something like you'll be familiar with on fireflies and so forth. But virtually all the animals that live in the deep sea have the ability to produce their own light. So those beautiful light organs always interested me, and then subsequently, I worked with a colleague in Hawaii for a number of years studying the bioluminescence produced by squids and fishes and even shrimps. So that was a large part of my research for about a 6-year period.
What is the largest and second largest squid you have ever found?
Well, the largest squid that I've ever worked on, of course, is the giant squid, and I've worked on many specimens of giant squid, really all over the world, not only in the United States, but in New Zealand, in Australia, Japan, in Europe. So I've looked at a lot of specimens of giant squid. I guess the second largest would be a squid that actually doesn't have a common name, but it's a big squid, and the specimen was caught off New England, and it's called Taningia dani, and it's interesting because it has 2 of its arms have 2 big light producing organs on them, and they have very large beaks, and instead of having suction cups on their arms, they have hooks like cat's claws. So it's a very effective way for catching their prey.
Pretty cool.
Have you ever seen a live giant squid?
Have you ever seen a live giant squid?
I have not seen a live giant squid in the sea, although I have been looking for them. I had several expeditions, but I have seen a colleague and good friend of mine in Japan actually took some still photographs of a live giant squid in the deep sea, and then subsequent to that he was able to catch a living giant squid and brought it up to the surface where we have video and still shots of that living giant squid. So my objective when I had my expeditions was to try to find a living giant squid in its natural habitat in the very deep sea. That would be 500 to 1,000 meters deep.
Oh, that's cool.
How long do squids live?
How long do squid live? That's a good question. Most of the squid and most of the octopuses and cuttlefishes tend to live a little bit longer, but most of the squid live for about a year. Some of the tiny species live only for perhaps 4 to 6 months. And during that time, they grow from eggs to little larvae, all the way up to fully adult size, but they'd only be a couple of inches long. Whereas a giant squid, we think lives probably 2 to 3 years. The giant Pacific octopus that lives out on the west coast of the United States, that would live to be about 3 years of age. But they're very, very fast-growing animals.
Is it a myth that squids have 1 eye?
I'm sorry, does a squid have 1 eye?
Yes.
Actually, no. A squid and octopuses and cuttlefish, they all have 2 eyes, 1 on each side of their head. So when you see an image or a picture of a squid, you'll see it with only 1 eye. For example, can you see this? So that's the model of a giant squid, and you see the 1 eye right there. Right? I'm going to turn it over, and there's the second, or around, and there's the second eye right there. So they have an eye on each side of the head. And this is the top of the animal. This is the tail. And these are the 8 arms, and then the 2 long feeding tentacles. Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay, good.
How many hearts do squids have?
Well, squids have, interestingly, they have 3 hearts. They have what you would call a normal, the normal central heart. And actually, I can't open this up, but I'll show you where they are. The 1 heart would be right here. Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay, so inside this mantle or inside the body, that's where 1 heart is. and then it's connected with blood vessels to two other hearts, one on the end of each of the gills. And these animals are like fishes. They get their oxygen, extract oxygen from the water with their gills. And in order to make the blood flow really quickly, the two gills, each of the gills has a heart at the base of that. So it pumps the water rapidly through the gills and into the circulatory system. So good question, guys.
Thank you. How long is a giant squid compared to a person?
Oh, that's a good question too. So let's just say a giant squid, the largest giant squid that I've ever examined, and I believe that's probably as large as they get, is about 45 to 50 feet maximum length. That's from the tip of the tail all the way to the outstretched tentacles. So if you think that, what are you guys? Maybe some of you are 5 feet tall. So if it would take 10 of you laying down and lying down on the floor, head to toe, head to toe, head to toe, 10 of you laying out to make the same length as a giant squid. However, they are very heavy too. They would weigh, a maximum size would be about 500 pounds. So they're both very long and very heavy. Big, big, big animals. And the body, the length of the body, which is just this part here behind the head, that would be up to 6 to 7 feet long. And then the head is 2 or 3 feet long. The arms, the 8 arms, would be up to 10 feet long or 12 feet. And then all the rest of the long length is in the long feeding tentacles that are used for capturing their prey.
Wow.
Cool.
Very,
Is
yeah.
Is it true that giant squids can take down ships?
Well, is it true that a giant squid can take down a ship? Actually, it's not true, but it sure makes interesting and exciting stories. And back in the old days, before people really knew very much about giant squid, there was a lot of mythology and a lot of stories that were told about giant squid. That's because people hadn't seen any alive, or they hadn't even been able to study actual specimens. So the early sailors and seamen made up these stories, which made a lot of interesting stories. But it turns out when we know the real giant squid, they're not vicious, they're not aggressive. They're just animals that live in the deep sea, and they happen to be very big. So they're gentle giants.
How are squid able to go so?
Upgrade your Ustream viewing experience. Enjoy live broadcasts and videos without banners and ad interruptions. Watch Ustream without ads.
There's no choice about getting these ads. Okay, I think it should go back. Here, resume in 30 seconds. I wonder if I can pause it. I can't even pause it. So this is one reason why we moved from Ustream over to Google Hangouts. We moved over to Google Hangouts to avoid some of this. But maybe we need to find another option too. And while we're at it, while we're waiting for this, I just want to thank World Bridges Network for letting us stream on the Earth Bridges channel. This allows us to do this, so thank you. All right, we're back.
Go deep and not be compressed.
Yeah.
Yes, well, there are no, in all of these deep sea animals, not only the squids, the fishes, the shrimps, all of the animals that live in the deep sea, none of them have gas bladders or any gas spaces or air spaces in their body. So it's just pure tissue, which is the same density and consistency as seawater itself. So when they go down in the deep sea, they don't feel the pressure. Whereas when we go into the deep sea, or even in diving, scuba diving depths, we can begin to feel the pressure because we have gas spaces in our body, in our lungs, and so forth. So it's not a problem for these guys.
Are squids poisonous?
A squid, you mean from the bite? Or to eat?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do both.
Do both. All right. In general, squids, the bite from a squid is not poisonous. There is one group of octopuses, a couple of species of octopus that live in Australia and in the Indo-Pacific region. Their bite is very, very, very toxic, very poisonous, and there have been some people who have been killed by being bitten by the blue-ringed octopus. But squids do not have that kind of poison. So a bite from a squid is like a sharp pinch, but it's not poisonous, so it won't hurt you. Although I've been bitten by squid plenty of times, and sometimes the saliva that they secrete when they bite, it's kind of itchy, maybe like a bee sting or a mosquito sting or something like that, but it's not going to hurt you.
Do squids have bones or cartilage?
Well, they don't have, squid don't have bones the way mammals do, for example, and fishes, but they do have, the skull is cartilaginous, it's made of cartilage, and they do have the gladius that runs down the backbone, right down the center of the back. It's a supporting rod, and it's made of chitinous material like your fingernails, very similar to your fingernails. So while there aren't bones, there are supporting structures.
Have you ever seen any changes in the squid environment that might be a concern for them?
Well, that's a really excellent question, and some biologists, marine biologists who have been working in the field of ecology have noted that in recent decades, the maximum size of animals in the sea has been decreasing. Like the giant Pacific octopus formerly was huge, but now they never find specimens that big. And the same with giant squid. We haven't found specimens anywhere near the maximum size that we used to find 30 or 40 years ago. And scientists believe that that's because the oceans really are, first of all, they're becoming polluted very heavily, which is very sad. And also, there's a great deal of fishing and overfishing. So many of the animals do not have the food accessible to them that enables them to grow to their maximum size. So that's a good question, and it's something that we all really do need to be aware of, don't we? That we have things going on in the oceans that are not healthy for the oceans, and certainly not healthy for the animals that live in the oceans. Thank you for that.
What do they eat?
What does squid eat, or giant squid?
The giant squid.
Okay, good. I like to say that the giant squid are so big, they can eat whatever they want to, right? Generally, giant squid and squids in general will feed on a couple of things. They generally feed on fishes, smaller fishes, and they also feed on other squids, smaller squids. So they know what's good to eat. They eat calamari and they eat fish, both very healthy. So, and I recommend that you eat more fish and eat more calamari. You'll like it.
Has a live squid ever stuck on you?
A live squid ever stuck on me? Sure. And also octopuses. They have a suction. I've got an octopus here for you to see also. Do you see that? Yeah, that's a cool octopus, and there's the suckers on the octopus. But I have some suckers of a giant squid, a mold, from a giant squid tentacle. Can you see that? Can you see the suckers there? These round, big round suckers.
Wow.
That's from the tentacle, and that's what these animals use for capturing their prey. So they can capture pretty big prey and then bring it in towards their mouth, which is in on the beaks, and then they just will take chunks with their beaks. The beaks are like parrots' beaks actually, and they bite chunks out and then ram it down their throat with something that's called a radula. It's like a tongue with a rasp or a file on it that pushes it down their throat. So they'll eat fishes and other squids, as I say, anything they want.
Is it true that they attack whales? The giant squid attack whales?
Well, actually, that's not true. What happens is that the sperm whales, and these are only sperm whales, the toothed whales. There is one tooth from a sperm whale. See how big that is? And I have a model of a sperm whale as well, right there, with the teeth here. And the true story is that the sperm whales attack giant squid for their food. But because the giant squid in relation are pretty big, the giant squid will battle and fight and try to escape. But I think that the sperm whale always wins because sperm whales are huge and very, very powerful. But again, when you read the mythology and the stories, people like to think that giant squid are powerful enough to actually to defeat a sperm whale. But sorry, it's not true. Sperm whales always win.
Do you study anything else?
Do I study anything else? Actually, I have studied since my graduate school days, and then since going to work at the Smithsonian Institution in Washington at the Museum of Natural History. I've always studied squid, but that doesn't mean I'll ever run out of work to do because there are over 1,000 species of squids and octopuses and cuttlefishes. So there's always plenty to work on, not only studying the different kinds and defining and understanding the individual species, but just as important is studying their ecology and their biology. What do they eat and what eats them? How do they live? What are their temperature requirements in the sea? What is the food? And all of these questions that we even ask about human biology. We ask the same questions about these animals that live in the sea. So I've got plenty of work to do.
How do squid swim so fast?
How do they swim so fast? Was that your question?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. They swim fast because their body is all pure muscle, and they have an opening that around the head and in front of the body, or mantle, as we call it. So they suck water in through this mantle. Then they lock the opening around the head, and then they contract the muscles in the mantle very powerfully, and that shoots the squirt out through what we call the funnel. And then that makes the animal squirt backwards. So they have a very, very powerful mechanism for swimming. Octopuses have the same sort of thing. And I think you maybe can see the funnel better on this octopus. Can you see that right there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Although squids do swim more powerfully than octopuses do.
Have you ever eaten squid?
Oh yes, I have eaten many squid, many different kinds of squid, and I have to say I enjoy it very much. Squid is delicious, and squid is very, very healthy. And you know what they call squid in restaurants, right? What do they call it? Calamari. That's right. So it's very nutritious if it's cooked right. Of course, if it's deep fried, that's not so good. But squid meat is really good for you.
Do you own your own boat?
Yes, I do own my own boat, but it's not a squid fishing boat. Because I was a lobster fisherman, I always liked the Maine lobster boats and the lobster boats that you see in Rye Harbor. So a number of years ago, I bought a Maine lobster boat, and because I live down here in Virginia, near the Chesapeake Bay, it's a very unusual boat to be down here, but I like it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Is your job hard to do?
Well, sometimes it's hard, but here's something that I think is true in any kind of a job or profession. If you love what you're doing, if you love your job, it doesn't make any difference at all how hard it is. I mean, you could work very, very, very hard, and if you like it, so what?
Is it true that giant squid will sometimes try to eat baby sperm whales?
Giant squid try to eat baby sperm whales. And you asked me if that was true, and I cannot tell you, but I would rather doubt it, frankly. Even a baby sperm whale is a pretty big and powerful animal, and it stays around with its mother for a long time. So the mother would help protect the baby sperm whale. So I think probably the answer to that is no. Giant squid probably don't attack baby sperm whales.
Is it possible to accurately infer the size of a squid from the beaks found in sperm whale stomachs? And what would the largest possible one known from the beaks?
Oh boy, that's a good question. Did you think that up?
No.
Somebody else did. But anyway, it's a great question. And of course, the sperm whales are not able to digest the beaks because they're chitinous material. So that's how we've gotten to learn a lot about both about sperm whales, because studying the stomach contents, and then studying the beaks of the squid the sperm whale is eating. And the answer to your question is yes, you can determine the size of the squid that that sperm whales have eaten by certain measurements. So if you have a specimen of squid and you can get the measurements of the beaks as well as the measurements on the rest of the body, then when you have just plain beaks, you can calculate how big an animal, how big a squid the sperm whale ate. So good question.
What fascinates you most about squids?
Oh boy, I think just about everything. First of all, I think they're beautiful animals because they have the skin that has pigment cells in them, and they have the light organs, the photophores, and all of these are directly innervated and connected by nerves to the brain. So they have what we call color play, and they're able to change their color and their color patterns to suit the situation, either as camouflage, and the same thing with their light organs. They can flash to scare away potential predators, or they can use it to hide their silhouettes from above so that a predator can look up. Their bioluminescence is on, but it matches the downwelling light, so they disappear. So I think they're just, so many aspects of their biology are very, very interesting.
What is the most bizarre fact you know about giant squids or squids in general?
The most bizarre fact? Oh boy, that's a good one. Well, I'm not sure if I can. I don't tend to think of things as bizarre in these animals, so I'm not sure I can come up with an answer. What would you think might be bizarre from what you've learned?
I'd say the light organs that give off light. That's probably the most bizarre thing I've learned today.
Aha. Okay. Well, I guess you could call that bizarre. It certainly.
Cheese It proves they're the perfect union of a Cheez It and a chip.
You mean like they got married?
Another commercial. Sorry about that. And we're almost over anyways,
Yeah,
right?
it's like a minute.
Okay. So we're actually gonna end it here because we don't need to hear the rest of this. And here we go. We're gonna actually stop sharing the screen. Let me see. And we're back. And you can kind of see I'm down to a skeleton crew right now.
Wait, just so you get a chance to see everyone. Got the chat room over here. And now we're getting back. Okay.
You've been listening to 7th grade at Rye Junior High from Rye, New Hampshire. We will be taking a quick break to stop the stream and archive this portion of the show. This window will not play the recorded material. Our next live show will be in the window underneath this one. We will be back shortly.